Hello, people, and welcome to Footy Judge More People. Erik Ten Hag is going to be back. He's going to stay at Man United. This is just an article that he's staying there, which is fun. It is fine. I'm all for the comedy shows that will happen against Porto. And next week, I'm all about it, bro. It's just comedy show at the current moment. Arsenal back with a bang. 4 goals against Leicester. A lot of criticism for Arsenal for leaving it late like this, to be honest. Man City problems with Phil Foden not starting. Questions being asked. Erling Haaland being phased out of games. That means Manchester City are in trouble. Cole Palmer is the best player in the league by far. No one comes close to him at the current moment. And Liverpool are top of the league and Arne Slot are breaking record. And Spurs are back. But anyway, there's a lot to talk about, to be honest, guys. A lot to talk about. So hit that like button if you just joined us here. Welcome to the Rational League. Hit that like button. Let's get quickly the likes up to 100. And if you're watching this on the replay, hit that like button. We have a lot of meltdown from Man United fans. I bet we start with Man United. But how is everyone doing? Everyone is smiling when Man United are doing bad. Even though I don't think they are relevant at all to any of you.
Because it's funny.
Yeah,
it's funny.
It is funny.
It's just funny. It's funny. They're not relevant. We're in different conversations. They've got to talk to, Brighton and them lot. They're not talking top of the table with us. But it is funny to watch this once great institution flounder around like this. It's never not going to be funny either. Same thing will happen when any of our clubs have their banter spells. It's never not funny.
Yeah,
of course.
Even watching that,
I think it will be not funny soon.
I don't think it will.
You don't have the hatred for United that we do. Growing up, United caused my club.
You never know.
Growing up, United caused my club so much pain. They probably fucking caused Nobbin's club a lot of pain, Rory's club a lot of pain, Dan's club a lot of pain. Seeing them now have to go through that shit, but 10 times worse. Oh, it's music to my fucking ears. It will never not get funny. It will never not lose its novelty.
I think it will if they become mediocre enough that they are not the talking point. There is a lot of clubs around, and I'm going to give you one example. You ask Leeds and Man United fans don't talk about Leeds as often. I know that Leeds are in the championship, but once Leeds dropped, they became a non-talking point. Because
how many league titles do Leeds have?
Yeah, Man United are way bigger than Leeds.
It's not comparable. No, it's not comparable.
Also, Leeds don't have the same like social media fan base that United have, and that will always be the civil war in the fan base that's happening. Like their reaction. I mean, you go back and look at those all of their reactions when they signed Manuel Ugarte and they thought they were taking over the Premier League, having this unbelievable summer. Like all of that stuff, it will just always be funny. And on the assumption that United aren't going to get relegated, it won't be as a significant drop-off as Leeds.
The thing with Leeds as well is Leeds were like near on 20 years out of the Prem. And a lot of that was during United really good spells in the Premier League. So that rivalry naturally disappeared.
8, 10th, 9, 7.
That's brilliant. They will still be relevant enough that they're top half. But they are so bad that they're not a threat. The thing is, I can only speak for me. Everton used to be a team that are in the position United are in now. Occasional challenges for top 4, challenges for Europe, but a lot of the time languishing around mid-table. They're now relegation fodder. It's still funny watching them be shit, even though they are much worse than they were like 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's still funny. Like, it doesn't lose the novelty. United being crap, despite spending 200 million quid every single summer and saying we're back every single summer, and their fans posting about how they've got the best midfield or the best defence every summer, without fail. It's never not funny.
De Ligt's better than Romero. Dalot's better than Pedro Porro and everyone.
Fernandes better than De Bruyne.
Like,
it was the whole.
Rashford is the best left winger in the league a couple of seasons ago.
You got, what was it that one year where it was like, if you can get past that,
not bad. I'm still doubling down.
Ugarte's crap. I have to apologize because I actually I thought Ugarte would be good. No, he's not. He's not good.
If you say that after 3 games, you're really saying that Man United are good. The problem, the players are bad. I actually think it's the other way around.
United aren't good.
Everyone that goes to Man United, okay. Onana was good at Inter, and yesterday we explained it on Anthony was here as an Inter fan and Man United fan. He explained it. He said the environment and the angles that he used to get at Inter used to allow him to pass the ball, and the structure was there. The ability just goes down because you're not practicing well, you're not being coached right. Xerxes was good. If Xerxes
had one good year in his career.
Yeah, but it's not about the GA, it's about watching him. If Xerxes goes to Liverpool, he suits the way you play, for example. Man United have no structure, right? I'm not going to say he's going to be Romario, right? But he will be coached the right way. He will be integrated in the squad. He will take time. Look at Calafiori, for example. Arteta just didn't throw him in the deep end. It took time for him to be integrated. Calafiori and Xerxes, you can say the same. Bologna, they made top 4, was coached under the same coach. They had the same impact in the league. But one of them went to play for Man United, which is shit everything, right? Environment, structure, coaching, everything. And one of them went to a more stable structure in Arsenal under a better coach who was integrated well in the squad. That's what happens, Tom. It doesn't mean that Xerxes is a shit player.
And the coach went to Juventus, Mo, and is now the best coach in the league. Hasn't even let in a goal yet.
He's not letting a goal, but he's not the best coach in the league.
I'm winding you up, but like, there's a level, isn't there? Like Ten Hag's not doing that.
This is the thing, Mo.
What Nobin says, hold on. What Nobin said off the stream is very well. Ten Hag is shit. We've spoken about it 50,000 times. Here is my problem with Man United, which is the main point before we move on. This rave about the structure. We got Omar Barada, then Ashworth, and I'm like, we're fixing everything. Well, their first decision is to keep Ten Hag. Their second decision was to keep Ten Hag after losing to Liverpool 3-0. And their third decision was to still keep Ten Hag after losing to Spurs at home
When did
3-0.
they lose 7? Didn't they lose 7-0 last
That was
season?
last
as
No,
well?
but that was under different
season
that
before.
was
me,
the year before.
different
Good
regime,
times.
different
Good
regime.
That was
We're
the
talking-
that
I
was
am
when he
just
should have
talking
gone.
about.
Mate.
I'm talking about when I spoke to Terry, when I speak to Saeed, when I speak to Staffy, when I speak to all the Man United and the Griggs, they actually treat Ineos as they have credit in the bank, instead of treating Ineos as new people came in, and until this moment, yes, they are better in negotiation. They didn't pay the money for Ugarte or whatever. They didn't pay the money for Xerxes. They negotiated better. But every other thing they did was not great, which is the biggest decision in the club, is to get the right man to steer the ship. And
I think winning the FA Cup was the worst possible thing that happened because they were going to get rid of Ten Hag. There is no doubt in my mind. The day after the FA Cup final, the plan was to get rid of Ten Hag. He won it. They couldn't get rid of him, so they had to back him. I don't think the signings they made this
Why couldn't
summer...
they get rid of him? They got rid of Van Gaal after he won an FA Cup.
I'm going to tell you what happened.
Well,
they wanted to win the fan. I am telling you. Okay, there were two types of money. I was going to speak about this on another show, and I want to double down on what Rory said, and I want to get your guys' opinion. At the current moment, Man United fans are turning into similar to what Chelsea fans did. It's either you're all in, I'm back in this Ineos and Ten Hag thing, or you hate everything, right? And the problem is the people that sent letters, the top Reds, and everyone in the stadium when they cheered his name, I think they folded. I genuinely think they folded.
They did.
They wanted to please the fan. They wanted to tell the fans, we're with you. We're making decisions, but we're with you. So they wanted to win the fans to their sides. So they kept Ten Hag.
It wasn't. I mean, I can only speak from the outside looking in. Wasn't exactly a lot of people that wanted to keep him last year. It was just a very vocal amount of people who would go on your social medias and write letters and stuff. I know a lot of United fans personally. They all thought he was a shit manager and wanted him gone. But they weren't on social media writing about this, writing out that. Yeah, it was the quiet minority.
Like the majority, Tom.
It was the quiet minority that were pushing it. If this ownership group identified that he was the problem, then you get rid of him. It shows a lack of backbone,
Tom. Which tells me that this ownership, Tom, we all know that Erik Ten Hag was one of the bigger problems at Man United. There are other problems. If this ownership didn't do what you just said, Tom, I have questions. If you couldn't identify that you have to get rid of the manager,
but they did. They did. We all remember the story.
They bottled it.
That he was getting sacked after the final.
They bottled it. That was it. They bottled it after the final because they didn't. And you say like, yeah, it was the vocal people on social media. They look at that. Todd Boehly used to be all over Twitter when he joined Chelsea. Like that is something that they care about. It is something that influences their decisions. And I think the one thing you can hope is that I just don't think the signings they made this summer were for Ten Hag. They can't be, because the way he plays makes no sense for those signings.
No, but it doesn't make it. How? De Ligt is a Dutch guy, right? He played under him. And by the way, people that say, but Zirkzee never played under him. Hold on. Can I just point this? I want to point this.
No, because I know where you're going to go. You're going to say that De Ligt was a guy who played under Ten Hag in the past.
Hold on, Tom. Hold on. Because forget De Ligt. The Zirkzee notion that everyone says, but he never played under him. When you have an Argentinian manager, or you have an Italian manager, and you go and sign Italian players, that is a link, right? You got to understand this, that people, but Zirkzee never played for him. He's a Dutch guy. That is better communication, easier to coach, easier for him to deal with. That is why I believe Zirkzee as well is one of his signings.
But
Ugarte is
if you want to go with the notion that Ten Hag had players bought for the way that he plays in the stat.
Did they lose 4-0 to Palace? I actually
yes, they lost 4-0
That's
to
how
Palace
bad it is, but I actually forgot that as well.
But Erik Ten Hag is not playing and has not actually at Manchester United bar the opening 2 games of his entire spell at the club played the way he played in the past. So signing players that play the Ten Hag way when he hasn't played the Ten Hag way since he was playing against Go-Ahead Eagles is maniacal and stupid. You know what my gripe about the transfers with Manchester United is? You look at the players that they buy. Manuel Ugarte wasn't wanted at PSG. Matthias de Ligt wasn't wanted at Bayern. Do you think these top clubs in Europe get rid of players and don't want players that are good? It was the same.
City do.
City done it once, but I you know what I love to use? I actually love to use Chelsea under Abramovich because when they had a good player, they never fucking sold.
De Bruyne. No, we sold Salah and De Bruyne.
No, because they were youngsters at the time. I'm on about when they have these.
He's talking about an established
first-team players, like
by the way,
Ugarte is, or like De Ligt is. They don't sell them.
Ten Hag does know Xerxes, by the way. He was with him at Bayern Munich under Pep.
There you go. Fucking hell. So he can't help himself. But again, Real Madrid, when Real Madrid have a top player who's still offering a lot to their team, they don't let them go. They let them go when they're starting to decline. And who normally comes and picks up the pieces? A little old club in Manchester who think they're getting the guys who will win 5 Champions Leagues at the heart, crucial players. They're not. Top clubs don't sell their best players if they're still crucial to the plan, unless it's mitigating circumstances, which Ugarte wasn't, De Ligt wasn't, because with De Ligt, Juventus didn't even want him. That's 2 top clubs that passed on him.
I think you're missing I think you're missing the point, Tom. I actually think you still think Man United is a big club and can attract top talent
because they try to act like they are.
Hold on. That's the point, guys. The problem is, do you think if a player is very important to Real Madrid or Bayern, would the player willingly choose to play for Manchester United? Why? I'm telling you, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City have way bigger pull than Man United. Why? Bro, they have established projects. And I'm going to say this, and I said it yesterday. I don't know, you guys, I know that not a lot of you watch YouTube, but I'm going to tell you guys, you know that Man United are the only top club that their name, and I said that with staff yesterday, the only top club, guys, I want you to deep this statement, that their name is not mentioned next to major trophies as any type of closer in 13 years. It's the only club. The only club. By the way, they're only big by fan base, money, and history. But that does not give you the right to sign players. That gave you the right 5 years ago. But now, guys, 13 years ago, even Liverpool at their worst era, and I said that to HUSAM, won a Champions League, and reached a Champions League final and a Champions League semi-final. Right? Man United, guys, they aren't even in the conversation between us. 2005, 6, sorry.
That wasn't our worst era.
Before that, 90s, but nobody played in the European
football. That wasn't the worst era. If you want our worst era, it was 2010 to 2015. And you have one
that's 5 years. 13 years, Tom. Their name is not even mentioned. By the way, in 13,
I disagree.
Even in 13, hold on, Tom, because now you're being, even in 13, Tom, you were right there and they're about to win the league title if it was for Gerrard. Man United have never been even in the conference. Tom,
before the season started, United have been multiple times talked about as being title challengers. Now, as the season progresses, it doesn't happen necessarily. But when Mourinho came in, that's when Mourinho came in. They bought Pogba and they brought Ibra.
Second, Tom, I think like 15 points.
No, but this is the point. You're saying that it has not been at any point where it's been said they've gotten closer. Multiple times it's been said they've gotten closer, but in reality, they never did.
Exactly. That's the point.
So then
even Arsenal, last 2 seasons, they were really that close of winning the title. 2 seasons in a row. Chelsea, 5 years ago, Champions League, right? Winning. Liverpool, challenging for titles. Man City, right? Even Spurs reached the Champions League final. Guys, Man United for 13 years are not even close to win a Champions League or a Premier League. That by itself, within 2 years, it's 15 years. Forget that you are not winning. You're not even close. But anyway,
that's because look at their approach though. If you compare it to like Arsenal, who were well out of it for other than the Leicester season, we were well out of it for years and years and years. We built back not by shopping at Juve or Bayern or PSG or Real Madrid. We were shopping at Southampton and Brighton and Bologna. Like, that's what they need to start doing. And okay, Xerxes maybe is the case, but again, this summer they've still gone to PSG, they've still gone to Bayern. Like,
they went to Bayern twice. To be fair, Mazraoui's not been too bad, but they went to Bayern twice. They went to PSG. They went to Lille and spent 70 million, which could be a decent one, but again, it's a lot of money. They went to Bologna. Even the summer before last, they went to Real Madrid how many times? They've shopped
You
in
look
at the big
exactly.
clubs
You
in
look at
Italy.
you look at Liverpool. You know, you went to Southampton for Mane. You went to Roma for Salah. Yeah, these were top players, but you're shopping at the top end players at lower ranking clubs and taking players that they don't want to sell, but they have to for money. United are still taking low end players from top clubs when those clubs don't really want those players anymore. And that's the issue that they've got. And I think the biggest issue United fans made was believing in Ineos for no reason. They believed that Ineos was the key before Ineos had done anything. Ineos have never, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's never proven that he can successfully run a top football club. And that scrutiny.
He said Omar Barada is the leader, Rory, at City.
They might bring in the right people.
He's a leader here. That's what they said.
Maybe, but can they work together?
I was just going to say that United's biggest issue is that there is, Tom mentioned the vocal minority or whatever, but certainly in terms of their online fans, they think that they are like Real Madrid in terms of quality on the pitch. And with that comes, maybe, I don't know if arrogance is the right word, but certainly a mentality of we should be winning and winning now. There is not... Yeah, sure. There is no... Because I think what United need to do is basically accept that for 3 to 5 years, you're going to be mediocre. Maybe you won't even qualify for Europe. Maybe you'll finish 8th, 3 years on the bounce. But hey, you've been shit for over 10 years, and that's not a dig. You have been shit for over 10 years anyway, so why not almost click the reset button and go, right, we are going to figure this out. And as Rory says, we're not going to be just bent over backwards and shop in these markets where it's clearly not suitable. Just accept that for the next few years, you're not going, because this can't happen overnight. You can try to copy City's structure as much as you want to and try to take our executives or whatever, but it's not as easy as just copying City like that. There has to be an understanding that for a few years you might be a little bit shit, and there's nothing wrong with that because Rory mentioned it before. Arsenal accepted that it's going to take us a while before we get back to our best, and lo and behold, it took a while, maybe longer than they wanted, but Arsenal are now back to their best. The only long term for United is that long-term pain. A short-term pain for hopefully, for their perspectives, long-term gain. The question is, will they accept that as a fan base?
No, they won't. Let me do the super chats because I really want to move on from United. What's the Erik Ten Hag way? He's a counter-attacking guy. Look at his 18-19 UEFA Champions League run with 40% possession. There is a mess because he's bold and did an intern with Pep.
Well, that's the thing. They played yesterday with like they were the away team, but they haven't. But they also don't have the players necessarily. Okay, they've got some. You got Rashford maybe on the counter, but they're not. Like they're not built to be a counter-attacking team, but they're
not built to be a possession team.
They're not built to be a team.
Exactly.
They've just got 11 players on the football pitch. That's what they put out an 11 every week.
That's what it feels like.
I actually have a different opinion. I actually think they are trying to keep position. That's why
they can't be. No, they can't be. They can't be.
Hold on. I have the evidence. I have something to back my statement. That's why they get dispossessed in their half so often. That's why they get pressed in their half. That's why their fullback lose the ball. That's why their midfielders can't even play the passes.
But again, if you
that is the definition of a team that is trying but can do it.
If Manchester United were trying to play possession-based football, they would not be playing Bruno Fernandes every minute of every game.
You would
they
drop
would not. Manuel Ugarte would not be starting for them because Manuel Ugarte does not do well on the ball. Years gone by, Wan-Bissaka's been starting. Wan-Bissaka was not a possession-based right back. Up top, Rasmus Højlund. Rasmus Højlund is not a possession-based striker. They have the attack and midfield of a counter-attacking team and the defence of a possession team. Therefore, their ideals don't line up. The moment they play out the press, with the defenders, it goes to Bruno Fernandes, who lumps a 30-yard hopeful ball. They lose possession. They're back on the back foot. Bruno Fernandes and Manuel Ugarte are not in line with keeping possession. The best they've done with keeping possession was when Eriksen was on the pitch because he is a possession-based midfielder. United don't have them.
Not every player has to be positioned. Casemiro played the majority of his career at Real Madrid.
No, I don't like this. Casemiro was very good on the ball.
No,
we've seen it. We've seen it. Off the ball now, his legs are gone. He cannot do anything. But on the ball, throughout his career, I've seen a much wider range of passing and much better control under pressure than what I've seen from Manuel Ugarte.
No, I haven't watched a lot of Manuel Ugarte, but this notion that you have to have 3 midfielders that play position-based football,
If you
I
want to try
disagree
and
with it.
if
If
you
you
if
wanna be
you
a
want
top
to play
possession
possession
if you have
football,
one
yes.
midfielder, if you have one midfielder that just can pass the 5 to 10 yards passing, you'll be all right.
Who's
Mo,
that?
look
Who's
at-
that
look
for
at-
Man City then? Who's Man City's guy who
But
can't really pass
why
the ball?
are you going to the extreme?
No, because I'm going to go through
So
every
what
why
team.
you
you're
wanna
going
be.
to the extreme?
I am going to go through all the teams at the top that United want to be compared to. So who's Man City's midfielder?
Who said that they want to be compared to Man City, bro?
If they're trying to play
Who?
possession, if they're trying to play
I
possession-based
give
football,
you Real
they're
Madrid, where I think Casemiro didn't do that, Tom. Why are you like Casemiro used to get the ball 5 to 10 yard passes to Modric and Toni Kroos. That was his job. Yes, of course, he would every now and then period that I diagonal ball in and there, but his job was not to maintain possession. And that happens to a lot of teams, by the way, Tom.
100% his job was to maintain possession. How else would he be in a position to play the 5 to 10 yard passes? Do you not think teams that went against Real Madrid? Do you not think teams that went against Real Madrid saw Casemiro as the pressing trigger in that midfield?
Nah, he's so press resistant.
So then there you go. He can withstand the press. He can roll out of a press and play
and why are
on
you
the ball.
assuming that Ugarte wouldn't?
Because I've watched Ugarte with my own eyes.
He was good at Sporting, and everyone knew that.
Casemiro was good at Porto. Casemiro was good at Porto. Then he went to Real Madrid and showed like the levels that he's at. Ugarte's had 2 big moves now, and is flat to deceive, albeit in a short period of time and at unstable Man United. But he's given everything at PSG, and they don't want him.
Yeah, but
Look
hold
at
on.
the
The problem is, by the way, guys,
PSG.
can I tell you guys, let me just give you a proof that your logic and your evidence is not actually the evidence of. Do you guys know that Luis Enrique did not favor Fabian Ruiz at all last season? Go check him. I'm watching.
Yeah,
PSG,
no, they shared.
So
the
that
split
means
mode.
that
We've already looked at it when we were talking about Fabian Ruiz during the
he
summer.
doesn't favor him, right? That doesn't mean he's a bad
but he didn't favor Ugarte either. He actually favored the likes of Vitinha and Zaire.
That's your evidence, right? That Luis Enrique doesn't favor him. That means he's not good.
Well,
I'm not saying Ugarte is
Okay.
Rodri. I'm not saying Ugarte is
Mo,
Rodri.
Mo, back to the possession thing, right? Okay, you can maybe say if you have like one attacking player that's not great in possession, it doesn't matter. If you're trying to be a top level possession based side, and you've got a holding midfielder in Ugarte who is not that good on the ball, you've got Bruno Fernandes who treats the ball like a hot potato. You've got at least one attacker in Marcus Rashford who is not a possession based. Like you can't do it. To be a possession based team, everyone has to be a possession based player. And you look at City, you look at Arsenal.
I don't believe they want to be 60%, but this notion is that Ten Hag tells them to just play hoofball. I don't believe that. I say the problem with me that every time I'm watching them, some of their players are trying to keep position.
This is what we're saying.
They're failing to do it.
That's what we're saying. Though. That's why it's not working, because they are just a mix of players that don't suit the other player's style. You've got some that would actively work well in a possession-based team. You've got some that work great in a counter-attacking team, and they're just thrown on the pitch together, which is why it's so difficult to understand. And ultimately, that is on Ten Hag.
Yeah, let's move on from Man United.
This is actually
I have to move on from Man United. It's 28 minutes. We haven't spoken about City. I've spoken about
Arsenal. 5 minutes. At least give it a more minute. I'm not done. I'm not done yet.
Give a fuck about Man United. They're not even relevant.
I'm not done yet.
Relevant.
Let me talk.
I swear to God, they're not even relevant, bro. They're not even in the conversation. Man United will finish between 8th and 10th if they keep Ten Hag, bro.
Great. I still need to talk
Go
on
ahead.
this subject.
You wanna?
Oh, this better be good.
It's democracy. Get your points across.
Anarchy.
You cannot look at that Manchester United team and tell me it's a well-built squad. In fact, if we were to, my point is, they do want to try and play possession, because that was clearly something that was pushed onto Ten Hag this summer. Probably why he kept his fucking job, because they want to play a more proactive style of football. The players they've bought do not suit that. I watched Ugarte a lot at Sporting because I like the manager I'm him. I could tell you right now, Manuel Ugarte is not a guy you want on the ball. Fuck me, he's so stiff on it. He's so unbelievably stiff on it. He's there to kill people in that midfield. That's what he's there to do. The problem with United is...
Sorry.
The problem with United is the whole point of having a destroyer in the midfield is you have 2 really solid ball-playing midfielders alongside them who can retain possession. Now, is that the ideal midfield setup? Not in this day and age. God, not in this day and age. You were on about Casemiro being weaker compared to Modric and Kroos earlier. Agreed. That's why he was let go of the first in like 2022. They let go of him when they tried to move to a more possession, not a more possession, but a more controlling setup under Ancelotti. This is what happens. Ugarte was not the answer. United do not have the players, do not have the setup to play it at United. And they're not going to, because whatever their transfer strategy is, it does not work. And Nobbins was nice early, going 5 years. It's going to be a decade, because every other club around them has got more of a stable footing now. If United want it to be 5 years, they need to have 3 of the greatest transfer windows I have ever seen in my life to claw back the gap that City, Arsenal, and Liverpool already have. And that is without Liverpool, Arsenal, and City making the same moves that they've made in the past 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, that have already given them such an insurmountable gap. The damage that United have done under Erik Ten Hag is remarkable, because let's not forget, a year before Ten Hag came in, them lot were coming off a second place finish. Was it a good one? No. But it was a second place finish. You could see the makings of the squad. Okay, now I don't see them getting 7th. This is the problem. They are so far behind the curve. So far behind the curve that it's going to take so many years to make it back up. And making decisions like buying Ugarte for 60 million are not moves that close the gap. They're not moves that improve you. And if they get rid of Ten Hag and they bring in whoever, I don't know who, Gareth Southgate, whoever, he's going to look at that squad and go, these players don't fit me. And it's going to be the same cycle all over again. Again and again and again.
I'll tell you, it's the most criminal thing that Ineos can do. And this will expose Ratcliffe, Ineos, as not being competent, is if they give Ten Hag the international break, keep him, and then drop points at home to Brentford, which they definitely will straight after the international break, and then sack him. Because if they don't give a new manager the international break, he's already gone, right? He is gone. But if they don't give a new manager at least the international break just to bed in a little bit, they then go into playing twice a week, every week, up until the next international break after that. And the new manager will have no time, no coaching hours. That will expose them as not having a clue how to run a football club. And I guarantee it will happen.
I actually think it's going to be October 6th when he's going to be smashed at home, smashed away at Villa, and they're going to sack him that time. They're going to lose to Porto away, right, on Thursday. And Aston Villa, they're going to 100% they're going to lose to Aston Villa away, and it's going to get
smashed. That's the thing, you say that, but again, that's almost like they're gambling on results going their way so that they can sack him at the right time again. Like, you know he's gone now. You've just had an awful result. Sack him today. Then the next manager, it doesn't matter what happens against Porto and against Villa, because you wouldn't expect the manager to be able to fix it that quickly. Then he's got 2 weeks. But again, now, what if they go away to Villa and draw? That's not a bad result. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, can we sack Ten Hag after a draw? It's like the FA Cup final again. They're gambling on results at that point. You've got to have a bit of gumption. If he's gone, he's gone. Do it now. But they won't.
They won't do it. I don't think they're brave enough. You're truly saying, Nobbins, Mo doesn't think Jack is or will be crucial this season. I'm going to we speak about Jack Grealish and Foden and all these people. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you so much. We'll speak about Man City next. And Nafisa, thank you, Nafisa. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Mo, it looks like a mixture of position and counter-attack. Exactly. That's my opinion. By the way, we can agree to disagree. The players don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. It is a coach. It's definitely a coaching problem, but I believe it's a cultural problem. It's not only a coaching problem. It is a cultural problem at the club. It's embedded now that they think, Nobin said, they think they are entitled to win. But it's not. Football doesn't work like this. You have to work for it. Some of the players really think because they wear Man United shirt, things are going to be given to them. And it's not true.
I just want to say very, very briefly, I don't think that the punditry in this country helps either, because most of our big pundits are either like ex-United players who won everything, like Gary Neville, or they're players who played in that era. So, when I know it's a cliche, but when Gary Neville goes, and this is Man United, and that sort of feeds into the idea that all these
We're Man
pundits,
United.
yeah, exactly. They have in their head what they think United should be and what it is, but that's not. I don't think that's helping to the failure for some fans to.
They're clinging on to history that they can't let go of the history and move on.
Said third this year as well.
Guys, they did the Liverpool thing. When Liverpool was all about the history, when they had the Spearing, when they had Charlie Adam, and it was, if you wear Liverpool shirt, you're going to be good just because it's Liverpool. And then you realize later that's not the case. We did it, Inter, 10 years. Everyone joins our club, right? It's not good enough. They go down. And we think because it's Inter, we deserve to challenge for the league. And we used to come 8th and 7th at the end. We used to win like 5-6 games, we go back, and then we go down again. Until you change the mentality of the club, you change the culture of the club. A lot of big clubs have been there.
The social media fans don't help themselves as well. When they sit there and they go, well, Eric Ten Hag's won 2 trophies, Arteta's won none, so he's a better manager. They sit there and dead.
Ten Hag doesn't help himself when he says that either, let's be honest. Ten Hag doesn't help himself when he says that.
Yeah.
They'll sit there and they'll go, oh, Arteta went 8th, 5th, 2nd. He's won 2 trophies.
Only the thing about it, and they ridiculed Oli when he said trophies are in the barometer for your success as a big football club in terms of the cups. He said only the Champions League and the league, it's where you are in these competitions. It's the measurement of how good you are.
They want him back.
They are wrong. They are wrong again because they're clinging to anything. But that is the thing. Man United fans think that winning the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup is the goal. And they're like, yeah, we win the Carabao Cup. We win a trophy every year. But you're going backwards as a club. You're going backwards because that's not the aim, to win the Carabao Cup and the League Cup. That's not the and the FA Cup.
Yep.
Arnav, my first super chat ever. Big up. Thank you so much. Rav National League. Thank you so much for the support. Appreciate you so much from Australia. Thank you so much. We love the National League as well. But guys, we have over 500 people here and we're not even on 200 likes. To push this show to new audience and new people, the like button helps the algorithms. We need 300 likes. The like button, if you don't know, looks like thumbs up. Keep it lit underneath the live chat. And also, turn on the notification bell to know when we go live. So hit the like button, turn on the notification bell. Looks like a bell next to the subscription button. Eric Ten Hag is bullshit. Is Anugarty. Xerxes shit. Mazraoui is average. I said Mazraoui is average. And they thought...
he's serviceable.
Yes, Nobbins. But they thought, oh my God, he's so good. He's great. Bro, he's okay.
Yeah, yes, because...
he's there to fill a position. It's fine. Okay.
Mo, when you are given nothing and nothing and nothing and nothing, and then you're given a piece of bread, that bread looks like the best fucking thing in the world. They've had Wan-Bissaka, Ashley Young, Wan-Bissaka, Croc Luke Shaw, and now they've got a fullback.
And Mazraoui is not different. Give him 1 year.
Did you say Croc?
Give him 1 year.
No, Croc Luke Shaw.
Oh,
I don't worry.
That's my favorite dish.
But the thing is that they themselves have felt they've been so limited in terms of fullbacks. Now they've got a fullback who looks passable on the ball, looks passable defensive. We're not saying good, we're saying passable. Passable on the ball, passable off the ball. Therefore, they are building him up to the biggest heights. The same thing they've done with Kobbie Mainoo. They hadn't had a DM or a deep lying midfielder.
No, Kobbie Mainoo is good, bro.
No. I'm not saying Kobbie Mainoo isn't good, but they were putting Kobbie Mainoo in conversations with the best midfielders in the league because they had. He's good.
Bring him over here.
He's good. He's not in
Put
conversation.
him at City team. Put him at Arsenal.
But he's not at those teams. That's the issue.
That's the problem, Rory. And I said that.
He's far too easy to run past to be in that United midfield.
If you put him in I'll be honest, I like Kobbie Mainoo. I think he's a good player. I don't think Mikel Arteta picks him in the starting 11 ahead of Rice, Marino, and Odegaard.
Maybe not.
I don't think Guardiola picks him in his starting 11 ahead of Rodri, De Bruyne, Gundogan.
Maybe not.
There's an argument that he wouldn't go into our starting 11 ahead of the midfield.
Can I put a super chat in front of you, Tom? Can I put a super chat in front of you? This one. Why spending more than 5 minutes about this dead team? It's Tom's fault.
Because it's funny.
It is Tom's fault.
Because it's funny.
It is 100% Tom's fault. by the way.
Because it's funny.
It is funny. It's actually funny talking about Man United, but yes, we don't even have a Man United supporter. Rory, Merino.
Because none of them are rational. That's why, Mo.
Stuff is a little bit rational. Stuff is
Big
rational.
up Staffy. Big up Staffy.
Stuff
I'm
is
not.
just-
I'm not back in first team training yet. I haven't had the call up. But
Rory,
Tomiyasu and Merino.
Merino and Tomiyasu back in the first team training. Rory's not back in the first team training.
I'm
He's
not
here with us.
Just realised
He's
what
here
Rory
with
says.
us. He's here with us.
I had a session at the Emirates over the summer and didn't get the call back. So, but no, Merino and Tomiyasu being back is good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. NCC saying bigger Inter legend for you, Mo, Icardi or Lautaro. I fucking hate Mauro Icardi. Fucking snake, and I should have never been a captain of the club. Always played for personal glory. Never cared about a club. Never. So I never liked Mauro Icardi ever in my life. That's your answer. Staff is saying, how much to kick off Nobbins off the show for good?
I just
Never.
said big up Staffy, and that's how I'm repaid. Hello?
Nothing. Nobbins is part of the National League and he's not being kicked off. I appreciate your stuff for super chat. Talking about City, people. Troubles.
They're brewing.
Phil Foden. I saw your tweet, Nobbins, when you're like, it's a trouble when he's not starting Phil Foden when you don't have any creativity.
Pep
I'm not
Guardiola
sure how to
out.
approach these people.
I
don't
just
know
need to
how
ask one
approach
question.
it.
I've got one
Yeah.
question. Are we finally Pep out, Nobbins? I saw the anger in your watch along. I saw how
Chill.
disappointed you were. Is this
Chill.
finally the tipping point? Is it
Chill.
time to bring Mikel Arteta or Michel or whatever his name is from Girona to the Etihad because Pep Guardiola cannot handle it anymore?
No.
There we are. My question. We can move on now.
Pep, I
Gemma,
mean,
what
there is
were you saying?
Pep is
Who's
fun.
it on, Foden or Pep? For being
Right,
dropped?
okay. Here's the thing.
Who's it on
yes,
for being dropped? Foden, who didn't play, or Pep, who dropped him?
No, but
Right.
okay, you never know. Maybe his level dropped. Maybe in the
Right,
training
right.
he's not doing well.
Okay,
So,
so
how is that even hard? How is that even not a rational question? Is it on the
So-
player for not performing, or is it on the coach for dropping him?
so
That's a very fair question, Tom. Have
so
some shame.
So I was very, confused or upset, frustrated, rattled, whatever the word is, when Foden wasn't starting. However, I've had a message this morning from Assos. Yeah, Pep. Let's say it is Pep.
Pep saw you call him out and went, right.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, without going into too much detail, because that's not a thing. It's Foden not being started has nothing to do with performances, nor does it have anything to do with his relationship with Guardiola. There are personal issues going on behind the scenes, which we can't really get into. So sadly that is a situation with Foden. So it's not a case of he's fallen out with Pep. It's not a case of his performances aren't good enough. There's a personal situation going on.
But then why is he on the bench and coming off the bench? Because surely that just makes it look even... Like, if he was not in the squad and they went, he's got personal shit going on, everyone would just be like, okay, he's got personal shit going on. By putting him on the bench and bringing him off the bench...
Played
And he played 90 minutes. But if Foden has got... And I'm not questioning the legitimacy of the source. If he's got stuff going on, surely the last thing he needs is then everyone talking about the fact that Phil Foden isn't starting. Phil Foden's been dropped. Like, sure, that makes it worse.
Maybe I don't know, but that's the situation. That's the reality of the situation. So I'm not going to have a go at Pep for not starting him, but I will still have a go at Pep for not starting Savio, because if you're going to have a conservative midfield, and we're living in a world where that has to be the case because De Bruyne is not a thing, and Foden, as we've touched on, is a very conservative midfield, then you've got to have some sort of creativity output, whatever the word is, elsewhere on the pitch, i.e. the wide areas. Against Newcastle, we had no presence centrally, and we had no presence out on the right. That will happen if you play Bernardo Silva at right wing in September 2024. I have no idea why Savio didn't start. That just had to happen. Because Bernardo Silva, I know we like to talk about Haaland's touches. He had 16 in that first half. Bernardo Silva had as many, which isn't really what you want from your wide players. So he just wasn't involved in the game at all. Of course, our left side was really lovely with Gavardio and Grealish. That's nice. But for me, I even with the Foden news that I've received, it's still not, in my opinion, the correct side to put out. It's still overly conservative and too cautious and too defensive. There was too much emphasis on control. We didn't even get that control. So we sacrificed all of our offensive output for nothing in return. So I still think there was an error there in respect of lineup. And we saw Savio came on. He was only on the pitch for 10 minutes, but he did some good work. So it's a shame Newcastle have not been good this year, and we should have beaten them. And yet we did not.
For me, it looks like Pep is trying to overload the middle a lot more nowadays. And I've always felt City's strength has been out wide. In terms of spreading the pitch so far wide, there's options everywhere. And it feels like at the minute, bar Grealish, who I actually thought had a really good game against Newcastle, everything's focused on crowding the box, crowding the penalty area, or at least that channel that the penalty area sits in. Why is Pep now? Is that what he thinks the next evolution is going to be again? Or why is he not now moved away from where he had wingers holding the width and then having everyone like late runs in from the box into the half space and stuff? Because I know that De Bruyne is not there, but I'd still think that Gundogan, I know he had a really bad game, but I still think Gundogan, that was a strength in his last season, really. He could do that. Bernardo Silva could do that. I don't know why he's now doing this whole thing where he's trying to overcrowd the middle. And it confuses me. Maybe he's not worried about Rodri going.
Well, indeed, yes. All I can really conclude, in addition to what we've discussed already in terms of like players being available, is that it's the combination of the first game without Rodri, like not even being like a considered at all due to his season-ending injury, combined with the fact that it's Newcastle away. They're going to have a very physical, duel-heavy midfield, and with Joelinton, Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes. So Pep's obviously still trying to figure stuff out. He's still trying to tweak. He's trying to figure out what is the right combination. And he erred on the side of caution. I don't agree with that, but that's the conclusion that he reached. I guess the good news is that, from my perspective, it's an easy fix. You just don't start those players in that combination again. You play Savio, who's clearly going to be our main right winger this season, at least until Bob gets back from injury. And again, I know we touched on like the Foden personal issues, but when he did come on, assuming he can get over whatever it is, I don't like to speculate, but he looked really good when he came on. It would have been nice to obviously see him play the full 90, but that didn't happen. So there's hope on the horizon in that De Bruyne will be back, Foden will hopefully be back, and that hopefully Pep's maybe learns a lesson in terms of don't be overly cautious and don't totally give up your attacking threat.
To be honest with you, I'm looking at Manchester City and I'm thinking, without Kevin De Bruyne, Man City look weaker. Without Savinho as well, if he's gonna overthink every game now, and he does this experiment stuff, you might not win the amount of games needed to win the league this season. As for Jack Grealish, I know that we speak about the tactics and everything, but there's something in this game that we need to speak about. He should have seen red in this game for throwing an elbow at Tonali. We're not here sitting to judge how strong the elbow is. And I'm going to say one more thing, right? And I said it on other channels as well. So to be consistent, Diego Jota was not going to get a yellow card for the tackle in their game. And VAR told the referee to give him a yellow card. So VAR intervened for the severity of that tackle and they gave him a yellow card because he'd said no yellow. And then later, after he checked the referee, he got the yellow card for the step on Lemina's foot.
Can VAR do that, Mo?
No,
they don't. Not. They shouldn't, and they did it for Morgan Gibbs-White when they gave him the second yellow.
They didn't. This is where people are getting confused between VAR and the other officials. So if you listened back, I haven't listened. We haven't heard the audio of the Jota one, but Morgan Gibbs-White, it is the assistant on the sideline.
It's the fourth official.
No, actually, that was fake, Rory. Actually, that was the audio that was released. It was actually fake. That was on Twitter, right? That has millions of views. They said that is not the official audio.
No, but the only thing VAR could have done.
My point about this is that I think, in my opinion, that elbow, when you throw an elbow to someone, that is a red. They chose not to ruin the game again. They choose not to intervene in the game. He threw an elbow to somebody, and that has nothing to do with his performance. And also, I'm going to say one thing: Kyle Walker penalty on Joao Linton. From every single angle you watch it, Kyle Walker did not touch the ball and went for the body. The referee didn't give it to check the VAR. And I don't know why some big teams some big. I'm not only calling Man City out here, but I said it before that Man City, because it's Man City and have the position, they chose not to give the call and then wait for the VAR to correct it. That is what I'm saying. The problem is you can wait for VAR to correct it, right? But you choose to give the call and see if it's clear and obvious or not.
No.
No,
I'll be honest. I'll be honest.
I'm going to be consistent.
I'll be honest. I watched that game. I don't think the penalty that Newcastle got was a penalty, but I think the second one was. So in the way football works, it balances out. I don't think there's contact in the first one. I think Gordon knows what's coming and jumps over Ederson, but doesn't get his foot down in time for the contact, but still
So you
goes
don't think
over
there was
anyway.
no contact at all?
I don't think there was. I don't think there was. No, not enough to cause. Not enough to cause the reaction. Not enough for a penalty per se. I don't think Ederson really touches him in that sense.
I thought his right hand caught his left foot, in my opinion. But the VAR issue that you're talking about, Mo, I do think the issue is that you've got this situation where you're right. Like the referee can basically they can justify a decision either way, because they can say a referee can give the penalty on the pitch, a really soft one, and they can say, well, VAR can't overturn it because there is contact. And at the same time, the referee cannot give a fairly stonewall penalty. And again, they'll say, well, there's not enough contact for VAR to overturn it. So it's like they can justify bad decisions more easily by having this threshold for VAR. Whereas it should just be, it's either a penalty or it's not a penalty. And if it is, VAR should intervene. Simple as that. But that's what's frustrated me about VAR since its arrival.
On the Gordon penalty, I don't care if it is or not. I don't care. What I care about is two factors. I care about the individual error from Walker, where he's just playing everyone aside. But more important, what I care about is because I know Walker's getting a lot of slack there, and rightly so, because it is an individual error. But it stems from a systemic error from City, in that go back and watch how much space Bruno Guimaraes has to receive the ball from Joelinton and turn into nothing but empty space. City's midfield just left one of the best through ballers in the Premier League, with Gordon, who obviously wants to run off his man in acres of space.
Same
I don't
as
think it's
Brentford, Nobbins, right? Same goal as Brentford, exactly. When the guy had the chance to pick his pass and play behind the defense, when the guy made the run. Remember the goal that Brentford scored in the beginning, when the guy had the chance to pick the pass and he was facing everyone and there was a line.
Vaguely, yeah, probably,
anyway,
Kovacic, I'm looking at, for example, it's from a throw-in as well, so it's not like it's a counter-attack. I don't really know who Kovacic thinks he's picking up. Lewis and Gundogan just don't think it's an issue, but it clearly is. And again, it just gives Joelinton so much space to pick his head up and go, oh, well, there's Bruno Guimaraes in acres of space. Oh, and now we can turn under no pressure, and now the ball's through. So I'm not interested about whether it's a penalty or not. I'm interested more in the fact that it never should have reached the point where it got to Ederson. That's the point. The through ball should never have come through because someone should have been on Bruno in the first instance. That's the issue from a City perspective.
Or Kyle Walker should have just held his line.
Well,
well, that too. But again, the individual error stems from a systemic one. So sure, Walker makes an error, but it's also a midfield issue.
It did feel like you nullified your attack in order to have more control and presumably kind of basically try and take a 1-0 win. Like, it felt like that was what you were going for there. But you never had that control. And so at that point, and that was why it was surprising Pep left it so late, because even once you were 1-0 up, you still never had that control. And it was like, so what's the plan here? You can't play for a 1-0 when you don't have control of the game.
Spot on, yes. And Pep said after the game, we lacked, we knew how physical Newcastle were going to be. So it meant that we were forfeiting offensive play. We were forfeiting the physical battle. So therefore, you've got to have control and you've got to be solid, and not succeed counterattacks. But we didn't have that either. So the midfield's sort of all over the place. And sure, I get it. Rodri's out. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that your whole attack needs to be stifled. And we've touched on it before. For me, starting Bernardo on the right was a mistake. It should have been Savio out on the right. Again, I just hope that this can maybe be sort of like a learning experience for City, and we can actually put a starting 11 which makes more sense. And Gundogan, for example, needs to be slightly deeper. He's clearly a deeper player. He's not a 10. He's not that sort of guy anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I see what you guys think. To be honest with you, I'm not sure where is this going with City. It's rotation.
Can I just ask, Mo, what were your thoughts on the man of the match display by your favourite player?
Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
He had 35 passes, 10 of them forward, 25 backwards. He
And what were
made
your
the
thoughts on his
assist.
man of the match
He
display?
made the assist. I don't think he was that great as well. I think he had a good game based on. I think he had a good game relative to the shit games he had before, but he wasn't like a superstar like what some people make him be. To be honest, like he didn't create.
Would you like to credit him for that great game?
I'm gonna tell you what a superstar performance is, even without.
I didn't say superstar. I didn't say superstar. I said he had a great game. Do you not concur?
No, so he had a good game. That's an average game, a good game. As a player,
average game.
Yes. That's it. A good game.
He was average.
Everyone else was below
Crazy.
average, apart from him. Okay, Gavardiol had a better game than him, and Jack Grealish. Everyone else had just an okay.
You thought
game.
Gavardiol was only okay?
Gavardiol was okay? Yeah, I thought Gavardiol was okay.
Okay.
Because he scored. So that's why it was masked by actually good. I didn't think City were good that game at all. By the way,
I didn't say that.
So that's why I wouldn't give I wouldn't give any player at City anything above 7. Anything above 7.
Because the team is as a general.
The team itself was not great, actually.
Why does that impact individual performance, though?
It does, because the whole team was not great.
Contradictory.
No, how?
Because if one player plays really well, but the others play shit,
But
why does that impact
that's a disagreement. I don't think one player played very well.
Well, that's because your starting point is that as a concept, if the team doesn't play well, then no individual player can play well.
No.
That's what you just said then.
No, you can have a lot of teams. But a lot of games last season, Palmer played very well and the rest of the team were not great for Chelsea. Lots of games. Saka as well. Lots of games last season.
Saka you just concluded, unless you misspoke, but you just said then that I can't give a player more than 7 if the team's a whole.
Yeah, because I don't think anyone played great. Not because the whole team. I said because the whole team played.
Okay, that's fine then, I guess.
My point about it is that I didn't see any outstanding performance out of the.
I didn't say outstanding. I said great.
Now, great for me is great. There is
Great for me is great.
Great is better than good. Is better than average. I thought everyone was average for City. To be honest,
you thought Grealish was average.
It was average. Everyone was below average. Jack Grealish was average.
So we've gone from good to average in the space 100%. Of 2 minutes.
I never said good. You said good.
So he was a 5 out of 10.
I thought you said good, not me.
I said great.
I said he just okay, like just okay. Yeah. I don't think this notion.
Crazy.
I don't think this notion that Jack Grealish, because he had the assist, right? But
it's not because he had the assist. No. It's not because he had the assist.
So why was he great then?
Because his overall play was very, very good. He was the best player on the pitch.
What did he do exceptionally then? Can you tell me?
I mean, he created the most chances out of anyone on the pitch.
Yeah.
How many chances did City have? How many clear-cut chances did City have? Do you know?
In a game where we had no control, he actually gave us it. In a game where we had no offensive thrust, he gave us it.
Every time I'm watching the guy, to be honest, I'm not moved.
That's not what I asked, though. I didn't ask if you were moved.
But that's the difference. That's the difference. For me, when I watch Cole Palmer, it changes games. Salah,
yeah, but they have different jobs.
I'm not saying. Do you think
that is the thing, Tom?
Grealish? I'm asking if Grealish had a. You're not even giving him good, man. I think that's mental.
I think Jack Grealish was average in this.
Rory,
game.
Do you think Jack Grealish had a good game? I'm not saying outstanding. Do you think he had a good?
No, you said
game?
Great game.
Yeah, that's fine, but you're not even coming up to.
Give me a rating for.
You're not even meeting me in the middle here. That's my point.
I thought he had a good game and was probably City's second best player behind Gvardiol.
Tom, do you think that Grealish had a good game and was City's second best player?
I'd say he was probably City's best player. Yeah.
Good game.
Good game. Yeah.
Dan, ditto.
Yeah, £100 million player.
Nice.
He played like £100 million player.
That's a fair point. Should be the expectation that he plays well. To be fair.
My God!
But that's not the point. That's not the question, is it? Because then I could say, well, because then I could say every single Akanji performance is world class because we only paid a pittance for him. We know that's not how it works.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Maybe I watch it different. For me, every time I'm watching Jack Grealish, he's not that direct most of the time. He was direct in some games, right? He's not that direct. He's not that dangerous of a player on the side. He keeps the ball, which is a lot of people can do at City if they want to. If Pep Guardiola tells people to keep the ball, they will keep the ball because City are the best in creating angles. Yes, he had the assist. He had 3 dribbles, which is average for a winger. That Doku completes more, Savinho completes more. He didn't have 1 shot on target or off target. He didn't have 1 cross. He passed 10 passes forward out of 35 passes, passed backwards, which is, by the way, I don't watch the stats, but I watch the game and I look at the stats to back my eye test. That's how I analyze football, right? If I see one of them has different than the other, I go and watch again, right? That is how I analyze Jack Grealish. And he was a wind-up in the game, tried to fight through an elbow, should have had 2 yellows and get a red card. He was very nervous in the game already. That is my analysis of Jack Grealish in this game. Keep the ball. Everyone at City keeps the ball, apart from Doku and Savinho, who are different and make City exciting, but everyone else keeps the ball.
Not against Newcastle.
That is my analysis. And he completed 30 passes, if I'm not mistaken, or 35 passes, which is below average for Man City players. So that is me being objective about Jack Grealish. Did he have an assist? In my opinion, if Jack Grealish didn't have that assist, right, which is Gavardo did the most in this goal by dribbling inside the 18, he would have had less than average performance.
Yeah, crazy.
Did I analyze it for you to be logical? My logic. I'm not saying you have to agree with this.
Your
That
truth.
is my logic of analyzing
It's
him.
your truth.
Exactly. It is my truth. Hit the likes, people, as Luke Skywalker. Let's get to 300 likes, people. Emmanuel is saying Vard told the ref to give Rice the second yellow.
No, he didn't.
No, it didn't. The assistant did.
The assistant told him. Again, the linesman told him, because you can hear all of them. Whenever you hit the audio, you can hear the referee, the linesman, the 4th official, and VAR. And it was the VAR whilst the linesman was telling him that Rice had kicked the ball. I still don't think Rice should have been sent off, but whilst the linesman was telling him that Rice had kicked the ball, the VAR was telling him whether or not Veltman had kicked Rice and the extent of that. So, yeah.
Emmanuel, here you
All,
go.
all these instances where people say, "Oh, VAR don't." VAR can only step in. So on the Rice one, all VAR did was check if Joel Veltman should have been sent off for a straight red card.
Yeah.
That was all it done.
Yeah.
It didn't say to the referee, "Oh, well, you can give him a yellow because he's kicked the ball." No,
Yeah.
VAR doesn't intervene on that.
Yeah, that person in the chat just put it. Whenever they annotate it, they put AR1, and people think that means like VAR, but AR1 is one of the on-field
Assistant referee 1.
So yesterday, the Bruno Fernandes one, which I don't think was a red card, but we've been past that. The assistant referee is the one who flags and tells the referee to give a red card. Not VAR doesn't step in and go, yeah, it's a red card. VAR reviews it afterwards and says it's not a clear and obvious error. But the red card, the assistant referee flags and goes, he's caught him high. And that's where the red card comes from. In our game, the assistant referee was the one who said, Joss has caught him on the ankle there. It's a yellow card. That's what they're there for. In the Morgan Gibbs White one, the 4th official, I know that the audio was false, and I agree with you. But the video isn't. You can't fake the video. You can see in the video his mouth says you can give him a red card. He's on a second yellow. That's what he's saying. You can see it there. It's all the other officials. The VAR doesn't step in there. That's where I think VAR's flawed, but it gets a bad rep a lot of the time from certain people who don't understand the rules.
All right. Zenikal is saying Arsenal logic, a point at St. James is a good result. Is that a good result?
In a vacuum, it is, but in context, it isn't.
City should be disappointed.
Yeah, also,
Yeah,
if
we
this
should have
is
won that
because
game.
Arsenal's logic is that a point at the Etihad is a good result, then you're indirectly comparing yourselves to Newcastle United. So think about it again.
Hey, big team. Dan Bain is the only guy in the Premier League who's been able to stop Haaland so far.
Very
Yes.
true.
Mr.
I said
Tommy,
if you
maybe
stop
look
Haaland,
at
you stop City.
You do.
Sorry.
Big up, Donna. Thank you for being a member.
Cheers, Donovan.
Cheers. Arsenal, though, before we move to
James Justin, eh? James Justin. I did not know he had that in him. Fucking hell. Some strike that second one.
That game's honestly one of those games that's just like, that is football. That is almost the exact... When we had a discussion a couple of weeks ago, Mo, about how football isn't logical, if we had dropped the points in that game, that would have been the perfect example. Because Arsenal played one of the best games of football we have played in months in that game, and yet one deflection and one goal that James Justin will never score again in his life, and suddenly you nearly draw the game 2, and a goalkeeping performance that I have never witnessed live in my life. I mean, it was like David De Gea fucking back in whatever year it was against Arsenal as well. But like all of those things happening in the same game, you nearly drop points in a game where you've absolutely battered a team. That's why football's not logical. But we got the win, so that was all that mattered.
Yeah, I know you got the win, but you left it to an own goal at the end. I'm a little bit critical of your, in my opinion, Arsenal created enough chances to be 4-0, and they weren't clinical. Do you agree? I know the goalkeeper had
to an extent, but that goalkeeper, no goalkeeper is having a performance like that again this season. I mean, that it was outrageous, and the fact that the ball eventually ended up in the back of the net for the third, like on the balance of play, you get the ball that close to the goal enough times, it's going to go in. So I was a bit critical actually. Straight after the game, obviously having not watched any of it back, I was critical of the way that we conceded both of the goals. But watching the game back in full, knowing that we won, I'm like, literally 99 times out of 100. I mean, we won the game anyway, but 99 times out of 100, you win that game, and you win it far more comfortably. It was, we played very, very well.
You played well to create chances. Saka had the record, actually, to be honest with you, if I'm not mistaken, with the clear-cut chances created or something like this. But people were critical of him for not getting the GA, which tells me
that's why you don't always look at the stats.
Yeah, like it tells me where people hold him, like, oh, he has to score a goal or have an assist every single game, so we're not going to be critical of him. But to be honest with you, Arsenal, I look at this game, I'm a little bit, of course, that James Justin goal, it was free at the back post, and that is a defensive error. But again, it will happen all the time. Do you think that the defense is under a little bit of pressure? Your defense at all? Same?
No, for me, Calafiori is not quite as solid defensively yet, and I think that'll take a bit of time. So he got caught.
Isn't he injured?
We don't know.
Played the game,
he
played the whole game.
No, but at the very end of the game, he landed awkwardly on his knee. So after the game, he was in tears after the game because it was the same knee that he absolutely destroyed a few years ago when he had that horrific injury. So I think he was worried about that. But then Arteta said today that I think it'll be fine. But yeah, I think defensively, he's got a little bit to learn. I think he's actually just a bit too aggressive, and he gets caught out a couple of times. But equally, for what you've maybe lost a little bit of defensive security from him, he's massively improved our attack down the left-hand side. Exactly.
Yeah, we need to speak about Martinelli as well, because he played very well this game as well. He was, because I think, in my opinion, the reason why I thought Martinelli played well is that he didn't have that much space to run, which is, he was very good 2 seasons ago when he had this 15 yards just to take on the defender, go to the byline, and make things happen. When you give Martinelli the ball at halfway line and ask him to run 50 yards, by that time, he's done.
Yeah.
And in this game, he had so much support, a lot of overlaps. He didn't have that much space to run, and he looked good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's keeping it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's before we brought Merino back in, who for me was the signing that was supposed to unlock Martinelli anyway. So I think once that left-hand side is Calafiori, Merino, and Martinelli, I think that left-hand side will be, have similar levels of output to the right-hand side, which is what we've, for the last 18 months, even when Martinelli was good, we still had an issue that we were very right-hand focused. And in some ways, that might be, we might actually benefit from not having Ødegaard for a period, that we've had to learn how to play without him because we've so often relied on that right-hand side and him and Saka. So, no, I think it's a good thing. Martinelli definitely just needed his confidence to come back. A goal and an assist should help it. And so, yeah, overall, we needed a very late winner, but the game itself, if we play like that against Southampton, against PSG, against whoever, we'll win comfortably.
Southampton are not even I think Arsenal will smash Southampton. I'm not sure about PSG because it depends how you're going to play. You go into the game, I'm assuming, tomorrow. Yeah. I'm not sure if he's going to play the counter-attacking football or he's going to play the at
home, I would expect him to play relatively normally to how we normally play. In terms of, if you look, that's how we played against Bayern Munich at home in the quarterfinals last season. And it cost us, actually, because they did us twice on the break. But they haven't got Ousmane Dembele. So that is one threat gone down that side. So yeah, I think we'll go for it, to be honest. I think this will be one of those ones where Arteta probably wants to make a bit of a point after what happened at City, that actually when we're at home and we've got the control, we will play.
Yeah, I'm waiting for this game, to be honest, to judge how Arsenal will approach different games, because you're playing at home against PSG, and I'm waiting. Thomas Partey, big questions. You think he's the one who's going to be dropped?
Yeah,
he should be.
100%. You drop Rice back to the 6. Merino comes in left 8. Happy days. Like, don't get me wrong. I've actually, credit to Thomas Partey. He's done more than I thought he would this season. He's played nearly every minute for us in the Premier League, as well as playing every minute for Ghana in the international break. I didn't think his body was even capable of doing that at this point. He put on a decent performance against City, I thought, all things considered, and even against Spurs. So, look, he's given us something this season, but yeah, when Rice is fit and when Merino's fit and when Ødegaard is fit, those three are the midfield.
Merino already trained with the first team. Like, he's fully fit.
Fitness
is different. Game fitness is different, but I'm talking his body is healed.
So Arteta has said, with Merino and Tomiyasu at least, they're in partial training. So when the players are out doing non-contact drills, the two of them have been playing. Because realistically, it was Merino's shoulder, right? So he can run, he can play with the ball if no one's going to shoulder barge into him or anything. Arteta reminded us that he was like, we have to wait and see how strong the bone is before we can. So I still don't think he'll play until after the international break. But it's a good thing Calafiori trained, to be honest. That's the big one. Because there were people yesterday that thought his ACL had gone again or something. So
can I ask people something? Do you guys think that actually Ben White is going to get dropped this season?
No.
Long term?
No, because in
there's
the big
a possibility.
I just think in the big games or against teams which are going to have a direct left winger, Ben White's still your best bet. I do still think he's a good defender in that sense.
He's a very good defender. Jurriën Timber will offer more in an attacking sense. I think Timber matched some numbers that only Trent Alexander-Arnold had put up in terms of chance creation from right back in that game against Leicester. For me, though, I look at it now, Ben White for 2 seasons was massively, massively overused. He was playing through injuries. It was relentless. We're now in a situation where I look at it and you go, Timber, Calafiori, Ben White, the 3 of them cover the 2 fullback roles.
And Tomiyasu. Can't forget Tomiyasu.
I do forget Tomiyasu because he's never around.
Tomiyasu was always around for that one game we played, the Emirates, where he needs to deal with Salah. That's literally he's fucking anonymous for the rest of the season, but the one game he needs to deal with Salah, he's there.
The Salah specialist. But no, so for me, it will be you'll play Ben White and Calafiori when Timber needs a rest. Then Timber comes back in. You can play because Timber can play at left back or right back. You play Ben White with Timber at left back, or you play Timber at right back, Calafiori at left back. The amount of games we've got, you rotate between those 3. One gets a break every 3rd game. I think you're pretty happy. So, yeah. It's not going to be like...
missing 8-15 players. We should win. Listen, I'm going to say this. Arsenal at home against whoever at this point of the club's time should be favorites to win the game.
By the way, I would say, I mean, I don't think they're missing 8, maybe first team squad players, but not first team starting players. And also, it was their own choice to drop Dembele because that was a disciplinary thing. But they've still got Donnarumma, Hakimi, Marquinhos, Fabian Ruiz, Asensio, Desiree Doué, Vitinha, Lee Kang, Kolo Muani, Nuno Mendes, Barcola, Zaire Emery, Beraldo, Skriniar. They're not struggling.
You should beat them though.
I think PSG stink of piss. I'll be real.
I don't think they do. I think that I honestly think they are a better.
Do you not think they stink of piss?
They might actually. They might smell of urine in real life, but I don't know. If you're describing their style of football as stinking of piss, I don't think they do this season.
Lad, who's their goalkeeper? I've never heard this fella before.
Donnarumma.
No, it's not been him. It's been this other one. Matvey Savonov.
No, I don't know.
Who the fuck's he?
That's like a password.
Oh, yeah. Safonov. 25-year-old Russian. Has he been playing all season?
He's played the last 3 games.
Interesting. I mean, they've got a good midfield, right? Jean Neves, Fabian Ruiz, Zaire Emery. That is a solid midfield. And then Barcola, probably Kolo Muani and Lee up top. Not bad.
Arsenal should be getting. Arsenal
we should beat them, absolutely.
Realistically, Arsenal probably. It depends what you think a company as a manager at Bayern. I'd say you're probably the third favourites for the Champions League this year, behind City and Real Madrid. Arsenal are.
Again?
Oh, I forgot Inter. Sorry, fourth then, because Inter are also up there.
You really think they're ahead of you in the Champions League?
Yeah, they're ahead of us in the league, so they're ahead of us in the Champions League.
Allah. Okay.
Plus, I did forget about Inter. Inter are ahead because
you
your
think
manager seems
Arsenal?
To
okay, so let me forget Inter. Okay, well, actually, I'm just gonna tell you, we don't have the depth or the quality on the bench to actually compete with Arsenal at all. By the way, just for people to know, we might have a good starting 11, but the drop from one player to the next is horrendous, right? Because we don't have the money. But you think Arsenal are ahead of a lot of Bayern Munich, for example?
I don't rate company as a manager, so yes, I think that Arteta as a manager and Arsenal squad puts them there.
Pick up Vinny.
The thing is, you've got to look at it's knockout football. So I look at knockout football in two ways. You need a really good defense and pace on the counter. Arsenal have both. They have one of the best defenses in the world. Let's keep it real. And they have pace on the counter in Martinelli and Saka. And when he plays Trossard and that. Arsenal can set up like a real good cup team. Arsenal have the players to set up that way. Let's not discredit them. I'm on about purely as a footballing side, they can do that. Now, when it comes down to all the other factors in the Champions League, yes, there's things that don't go their way. The fact they've never won it before and heritage and this, that, and the other. I understand that. I understand that better than most people. So if you want to put us ahead because we've won it 6 times and we've done that before, go ahead. I'm on about purely in a team-for-team level. Arsenal's squad and Arsenal's makeup puts them, in my opinion, as the third best team in the competition.
All right, then. All right. We'll see. If Arsenal win the Champions League, I think they will break the internet for sure. I'm here for it. If Inter don't win it, I'm here for it. 100%. I'm all about the content, bro. Content, chaos, let the world burn. I'm all about that, bro. Let the world burn. Chelsea fans, oh my God, the meltdown if Arsenal win the Champions League. Oh my God.
No, we'll be all right.
It'll be fine.
No, you won't.
It'll be fine. They'll get to the semi-final of the Conference League, and that's good enough for them.
No, we've won 2, Mo, so I don't think it'll be an issue if Arsenal win that.
A lot of Chelsea fans will hate that Arsenal will win.
I don't think we'll like it, but the fact that we've got 2 puts us on a different level to that.
To be fair, the one thing that Arsenal have gone for them is the fact that Tottenham didn't get one first. I do struggle to think how they would have recovered from that if Tottenham had gotten a Champions League before they did.
Yeah, that was as hate-alongs go. Watching Liverpool against Spurs in the Champions League final, I've never wished more ill fate on a team.
You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. You are very fucking welcome for what we done that day. Like that was the build-ups. That was brilliant because the amount of times that Arsenal fans were getting asked, right, would you lose this game if it meant Tottenham lost? And about every single one of them went, yeah, go ahead. It's not that important.
Yeah.
Did you guys even notice versus Leicester in build-up at times, both Timber and Calafiori inverted with Rice dropping into...
If you look at...
Central centre-back.
Central centre-back.
So basically, the new thing now in central back already.
No, because basically it became like a back 3 almost of Saliba right centre-back, Declan Rice, and then Gabriel. But actually, I mean, it was crazy. It was freeing up Gabriel positionally ended up as like a left-sided 8 for half of the game. It's good. It is good.
Leicester was so deep. I actually thought that Arsenal, in terms of attack, looked electric. That interchange between Havertz and Trossard and who's making the late runs was amazing because he knows he doesn't have a striker, a number 9. So he's like, you do it once. Havertz, you support the right side. Trossard support the left side once, and whoever makes the late run. And that resulted in the goal.
Do you believe me yet about Ethan Nwaneri?
That's just the second super chat. I know that you read that. Thoughts on Ethan Nwaneri and the impact he can have. Let me just tell you one thing I said about Ethan Nwaneri after. Number one, the Kobe Mainoo thing will let me hold my thoughts a little bit about what I think. Right? Kobe Mainoo is a great player, but still needs development. My point about Ethan Nwaneri is that it's very simple to Kobe Mainoo, right? Which is they step into the game and look like they have no pressure, that they have been there for like 10 years. Ethan Nwaneri, and I said that on the match reaction when I was with the guys on the Rivals Rumble. I said the thing about Ethan Nwaneri is that when he stepped on the pitch, when Arsenal are 2-2, fans are nervous a little bit. He went and asked for every single ball to be delivered to his feet. As I am the man, I'll make things happen. At 17 years old, to come with 60,000 people in the stadium that are nervous, 2-2. City already dropped points. So you're looking at them, I'm like, we have to win this game. We had 10 clear-cut chances already. Right? And for him to be unfazed, and I use that phrase after the game, and ask for every ball is something that not a lot of youngsters can do in the world. Not a lot of youngsters can take it upon them to deliver in these types of situations. And that is my take on Ethan Nwaneri in this game. The minutes
it was then, and I agree completely. But then as well, for me, it was actually then the actual quality. He didn't lose the ball, which was important. We needed to keep the ball. He had a shot that was well saved. He created chances. It was like, okay, he wants the ball, and we want him to have the ball. So, yeah, at 17, I think I think he's ready to start games. I think he could start against Southampton.
Maybe I would just be careful a little bit because Kobe Mainoo last season, in the end of the season, even though Man United were atrocious, he looked very good. That's why he got called to the England national team. But then the more pressure was put on the kid, and you see now Kobe Mainoo.
No,
my point about Arsenal, yes, the pressure is different, but it's similar at the same time. The pressure and difference in terms of this team is playing shit, but the similarity is that this team is playing well, but they're asked to win the Premier League.
Yeah, but yeah, I would. But that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't start him against PSG. I'd start him against Southampton. I wouldn't start him away at Newcastle. I'd start him at home against Ipswich. Like United used Kobe Mainoo like a bar of soap last season. Ten Hag used him like a bar of soap, and that wasn't beneficial for his progression. But I would like to see Nwaneri getting introduced a bit more.
Yeah, I like to see him more.
Nwaneri's just coming in and doing the job that he needs to. We had this discussion all throughout the summer, didn't we, Mo? And I think me and Rory were saying you've got Nwaneri there. He's a good option. He's there to be your cover for Odegaard. Whoever's playing in place of Odegaard, if you need something else, Nwaneri's on the bench. He's not the guy who should be coming in and starting 5 games in a row. And when Odegaard's back, I don't expect to see him get many minutes. But what he is a good option to have. That's what matters. And that's why I'm big on these teams utilising an academy product. Because I can only imagine, as an Arsenal fan, watching what Nwaneri's done over the past week must have been fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Getting his first goals against Bolton and then coming on and having a big impact in the game against Leicester. That's what it's about at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mo thinks it's a joke, but if Arsenal win the Champions League, the world will burn. I don't think it's a joke and will suffer forever. Who will suffer? Why would people suffer? I'm all about the content. Get out of here. I don't know why people would suffer if Arsenal win the Champions League.
Because as much as Arsenal have progressed, they still won't give Arsenal the credit they deserve, and they can still fall back. For now on, you haven't won anything. You haven't won anything. That's always the default argument. Yeah, but you haven't won anything. If we win a Champions League, there's nowhere left to run. You might just actually have to accept that Arsenal are good and that Mikel Arteta is a good manager, and that is scary for them.
If you win the league, Rory, it's the same. If you win the league, there is
there'll always be that nagging thing. It was like with City as well. It's like it didn't matter if we were Centurions or domestic treble, etc. It's like, yeah, but where's your Champions League? And
as a club, yes, but for Arteta, Nobbins, it's okay. As a club, that will always be the case until you win.
Sure, yeah.
But for Arteta, winning the league is more than enough for people to stop saying this nonsense about he's a shit manager and all this thing that is going around, right? It doesn't have to be the Champions League, but anyway, I know that Nobbins have to go, guys. Nobbins have a video about the tactics, broke down the tactics of the Newcastle game on his channel. So make sure to go and check it out. Of course, Nobbin's channel is in the description of the channel, along with Rory, Tom, and Dan, of course, and Joe as well. So big up Nobbins. Thank you for joining. We're still talking Chelsea and Liverpool a little bit, but Nobbins, appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Should we move to the best player in the league or in the world, as some people say?
What, Ryan Gravenberch? I'm up for that.
Oof. Oh, yes. I am Chelsea, to be honest with you guys. Okay, hear me out. And I know Dan, by the way, just for the people in the channel and on the chat, I know that people, and I respond to every comment, mostly every comment. I know, replace Dan. We need the chest. Hear me out, Dan. Hear me out about this. But then I have Don, right? Oh, Don is deluded. He doesn't. Why you have Don on your channel? And then I get Shez. Oh, Shez sits on the fence. Bro, you'll never win. You'll never win. That's why we have different Chelsea supporters, different Arsenal. There is Rory, there is Brandon, there is Dayo, there is Jay. There's a lot, right? But for Liverpool, we only have Tom, which is...
See, because I'm just perfect in every shape, way, and form.
There is a little bit of HUSAM here and there. But to be honest with you, guys, I'm being serious about this Chelsea team. The attack is lethal. Is really lethal with this Palmer in the 10 thing. It is crazy. Sancho's playing well. If the trajectory goes this way, Sancho might go back to the Dortmund ways of playing. But I doubt that it will. I doubt that, because teams will start sitting back against Chelsea, will not have this wide open thing. I'm not sure. How did you view the game then? Can I ask a question then? Did you think it was Brighton giving you every single chance to play well, or you actually playing very well?
Yeah, a bit of both. Like, I think Cole Palmer had a performance for the ages, but Brighton played into our hands unbelievably naively. I just can't understand how Herzl ever thought that would be the way to set up against one of the most devastating teams in transition in the league. Didn't everyone see it against Wolves? Didn't people see it against Tottenham last season? I cannot work out why he thought the high line was ever going to lead to success in that match. I think it's disrespectful, actually.
Literally, we've sat here and we've discussed how the easiest way to stop Chelsea is to sit in a low block, double, triple up on Cole Palmer.
Ask the other players that aren't Cole Palmer to do something creative.
Yeah, exactly.
To be fair, Sancho might give them something else there, but it's the basis is the same, yeah.
I'd also back Cole Palmer to rise up to the challenge, by the way, even if he is doubled up on. I still think every time he's been tested, he absolutely shows that he's another level above.
You know what we need to talk about, though? You know what we need to talk about? And I'm going to sound like fucking Roy Keane here. Why are so many teams with players who cannot play out the back? It's so focused on playing out the back. Adam Webster, fuck me. He's never been good at it. What was he doing?
Even Verbruggen gave the ball away as well.
Verbruggen, Robert Sanchez?
But yeah, then Chelsea are doing it the same. I'm with you on this, by the way. There's an obvious obsession with playing out from the back.
If you're not good, all you're doing is putting pressure on yourself. It's not a bad thing to get it up the pitch to your forwards, because for most teams, your forward line are your best players. They're the guys that can make something happen, not your centre backs who just want to head the ball away and make tackles. Pretty much every single goal in that Chelsea game, I looked at and went, "That's so avoidable. That is so avoidable." And the obsession with doing it the right way and playing football, there is no right way to play football. You just play football. Brighton have so much pace on the wings, and yet they insist on intricate build-up through the lines. And it works at times. There's nobody saying it doesn't work. But play to your strengths at points. I've watched Chelsea this season. If that Yankuba Minter had started the game and was being put 1v1 against Cucurella time after time after time, Brighton would have gotten a lot more joy. Because he's a threat, and getting him 1v1 against guys who don't want to 1v1 defend, that's how it works.
Because Brighton...
I haven't said anything about the way Chelsea played. I'm just having about the fact that Brighton insist on playing at the back when they have players who can't do it at points.
Yeah, Chelsea are definitely playing better this season. Chelsea definitely look sharper going forwards. But there is also the fact that Brighton played perfectly into. If Chelsea could, if you were Chelsea or you were Maresca and you said, right, what would be the nicest way? What would be the best way a team could set up against you? It pretty much say what Brighton did. And for me, actually, this Hurtzler guy. I think he's a right arrogant tosser, and I think he believed that they play his. I think he's an arrogant tosser.
Who's
and
that?
I think Hurtzler, the Brighton manager.
Oh, okay.
He was an absolute bell. After the Arsenal game, he was a complete bellend, right? And he's getting everything that he deserves. But he genuinely set up that game thinking that his philosophy for that Brighton team would be enough to beat Chelsea, and he got absolutely humbled off the back of it, and rightfully so. It was idiotic, and he got what he deserved. And fair play to Chelsea, they absolutely punished
Someone
it.
is still very hurt from the Brighton game.
No, because he was a prick.
He did set up in such a naive manner. I can't believe he thought that would ever work. I mean, at times, like he can press Chelsea down into an area where we made mistakes and we conceded, but no matter how many times that happens, probably happened twice for Brighton, I think it's fair to say. I don't think there were too many more errors on our part. But we were always going to outscore them if it ever turned into a foot race going the other way. And it happened like 6-7 times in the first half. If it weren't for offsides and missed opportunities, we probably could have been like 6-7 goals to 2 of theirs. It was ridiculous.
Chelsea played really well. Cole Palmer's a joke of a footballer. An absolute joke of a footballer. Yeah. He's so good at everything he does. But, and again, it's not to take away from Chelsea. I don't know what Brighton expected. Because to play a high line, you kind of need pace. Lewis Dunk's not quick. And Adam Webster's not quick. And you're going up against Nicholas Jackson, who I think is deceptively quick.
Yeah, he's fast, mate. There's no doubt about any of them.
I actually think, Tom, deep down, you want to say they played into Chelsea's hands. Yes, Cole Palmer had a great performance.
They did, but that doesn't take away from what Chelsea done, because you can play into a team's hands and they don't take it. Chelsea were done brilliantly at taking the opportunity.
Why didn't Arsenal take it? Did they play the high line against Arsenal like this?
No, do you know what? No, they didn't actually. And I'll say this: I did all my research for the preview about how Brighton were going to set up, how they were going to play. No evidence to suggest this was coming.
They've set up in a mid-block most of the season, so that's why sitting on the halfway line shocked me.
I don't know why would they do this against the quickest attack in the league.
That's what I'm saying, Mo. It's so naive, and like Rory said, like why is he backing his team to play like that? Exactly the point Tom said. When he's got slow defenders, at least Ange's got Van der Ven, that he can like put that defense on the line and say, do you know what? If it goes past you, you're the fastest centre back I've ever seen. Recover for us. We saw him get burnt for England.
Yeah, against Arsenal, they played pretty defensively. They were in a deep. Do you know what? Actually, one of the only times that they really pushed up was when we scored our goal, which was a ball over the top from Saka,
and Lewis Dunk couldn't get back.
And Lewis Dunk was absolutely fucking giraffe. So yeah, it was a weird one. But look, like we said. And I mean, the thing with Cole Palmer is, it's a direct free kick. There aren't many players that even score direct free kicks anymore. I feel like that's just a trait that players have lost.
That's a ridiculous goal, by the way.
Which he's done.
That's like a Messi level free kick, isn't it? That's how good that free kick. It's like
if this was Kevin De Bruyne, we would have been sitting here talking
about. De Bruyne ain't got that in his locker. I've never seen him score that free kick. Have you seen him score that free kick?
From that far, it's about 30 yards or something like
30, 35 yards. Top bins. Keeper got a hand to it.
I've seen
accuracy on that.
By the way, I'm not saying De Bruyne is an unbelievable player. I'm just saying I don't think I've seen him score that free kick. Yeah, and I don't think I've seen De Bruyne put up the numbers Cole Palmer's put up in terms of scoring goals or goal contributions.
But and that's the thing. It scores the penalty. You never doubted that he was going to score the penalty. Okay, the first goal's relatively easy. The fourth goal, he could go either side of the keeper, but it's like he doesn't even think about it, just buries it. Probably should score the fifth goal with his right foot. But even that, the fact that he was so fuming with himself for not scoring the fifth one, that's the sort of hunger you want. And then for me, you know that ball over the top that he played, that first time ball over the top?
Yeah, he played two exactly the same, Rory. I know what you're going to say. It went up into the heavens and come back down. Yeah. Jackson took the touch, didn't he? I think Madueke was on the end of one as well. Like he's not even, he's like checked his shoulder once in his own half, pinged the ball up like 40 yards in the air, and it's landed like perfectly on the striker or attacker's foot. It's a joke. And do you know what? He's not even bothered. He comes off afterwards. They're like, "Did you practice free kicks?" He's like, "Nah, just like messed about at the end of training."
The thing is, he can't feel pressure.
Nah,
he doesn't have enough brain capacity to fully contemplate pressure.
I said it earlier. Have you ever seen a documentary called Free Solo? And it's about the guy that climbs up Yosemite called Alex Honnold. He's like got a part of his brain that just doesn't allow him to feel any.
Is he the best player in the league then? Is he?
And I think Palmer's got that. Yeah,
right. Okay, now. Why? Okay. Did you see that face that Rory did?
I know Tom wants to say Gravel back.
I like Rory.
Cole Palmer's winning games on his own.
The face you did.
I'm not going to argue against saying that Palmer's the best.
Because I want to speak about that particular thing. The face that you did, Rory, is a lot of people do that. As I am not afraid to give people credit. I think a lot of people don't want to overboard with the praise to Cole Palmer, waiting for things to happen. Right? I actually think, my opinion, before you come in, is that what I'm seeing this season from Cole Palmer is actually against what everyone was saying. It's just a continuation of what he did last season. So it's proven that the doubts were wrong.
I agree with that. He's proven that he's not a one-season wonder. Yeah, and look, I think he ranks right now right up there. I think. Look, I've sat here as an Arsenal fan, and whenever anyone talked about how good Bukayo Saka was, there were always further barriers that he had to get at. Got to do it in the Champions League. Got to do it competing for a title. Got to do it for England. These are things that suddenly have gone out of the window when now we talk about Cole Palmer. But I do think those things I think that there is a place for them. I do still think you need to see Cole Palmer do it against the top teams in the Champions League. Like, there's an element of that. I also think, Erling Haaland has had an equally phenomenal start to the season, but is doing it at City, and that it does make a difference whether you like it or not. So yeah, Palmer's probably top 5 or comfortably top 5, but whether it's the immediate.
Come on, the effect he's having on Chelsea.
Well, if you think, if you think he's number 1, then that's top 5.
Do your ranking then. No, when I say Palmer is top 5, I mean he's 5th. Because if he was the third, you would have said top 3.
Yeah, I agree.
It's cheeky.
Number 1 is still Rodri. And fine, he's done his ACL, so he's not going to play. But like Rodri is and was the best player in the league at the time.
He hasn't actually played enough in the league this season, actually.
Are you doing best player in the league or best player in the league so far this season? Because
they're two different things.
Best player now in the league, because if we go about best player in the league, the Salah sweeps everyone. Based on that, if we go through what you have achieved and all of this, Salah sweeps everyone along with Kevin De Bruyne.
Rodri does. Because Rodri has been at that level for the last 2 years, where City have won the treble, they've done the 4P, and he has been more important to that team than anyone else in any other team.
Are you saying that Rodri has bigger legacy in the Premier League than as a Premier League
player?
No,
he won't, because he's not an attacking player. No, he won't, because he's not an attacking player. But that does not mean that he's not at that level. And we've seen it. City won the league last year with De Bruyne missing for 6 months. Like, we've seen them.
Rodri has been great.
Right. But so you saying, okay, but he's not played much this season. Well, fine then. So on that basis, like Phil Foden's basically not played this season, so he's worse than Jacob Murphy. Is that how it works? If it's just on this season?
No, but Rodri's not going to play this season. He can't be player of the season this season. Foden can't.
You're not asking me who's going to win player of the season. You're asking me who's the best player in the Premier League.
Yes, who's the best player now, today?
So Cole Palmer gets an ACL injury tomorrow, he's no longer the best player if you think he's the best player.
Yeah, 100%. Because he can't win player of the season.
But you're not asking who's going to win player of the season. You're asking who is the best player that is a Premier League player.
So who's the best player for you then?
I just said I think it was Rodri would be number 1, Salah would be number 2, De Bruyne would be number 3.
Okay, in terms of like people that have played games this season, Rory, where are you putting Cole Palmer? Because like Rodri, we can't put. We know how good Rodri is, but on the back of this season's evidence, he's played
probably
what?
2.
Like,
I'd probably put 2 behind Cole Palmer, behind Erling Haaland. I'd probably go Haaland 1, Cole Palmer 2, because I think people are forgetting. Literally, maybe less than 2 weeks ago, we were sat on here talking about whether or not Cole Palmer could hack it against being doubled up, tripled up on, if he could hack it against the way that teams were playing against. I get that he's just had a couple of fantastic game weeks, but literally 2 weeks ago we were discussing, is Cole Palmer struggling this season? We haven't had that conversation about Erling Haaland. So it's very reactionary for him to suddenly be the best player in the Premier League.
Can I ask another question then? I can ask everyone here. Where do you think Cole Palmer will be, in your opinion? And we can't see the future. It's all about what we think is going to happen in 2 years from now. Is he going to be a Ballon d'Or contender? Is he going to be a best player in the Premier League?
Don't know.
He won't be at Chelsea.
I don't know if he'll be at Chelsea.
He won't be at Chelsea. He'll
Why
be at a better
not?
team. But...
Because the project needs to align with him.
He'll go to a top club.
Do you think if in 2 years' time Chelsea are still playing in Europa League, Cole Palmer's going to be fine with that?
But I disagree with that because I think by next year Chelsea will be in Champions League.
Even if
Chelsea, but I'm just saying in that case,
even if Chelsea
the project has to move along with him,
set but not fighting for leagues, I think Cole Palmer will go to Real Madrid.
The project has to keep pace with Palmer.
Can you imagine Cole Palmer trying to learn Spanish?
Think, guys, if Chelsea make top 4 this season, you don't think next year they can push for third, second, being where Arsenal is? No.
Probably not. No, because again, this is the part that I don't get. Every other team is going to strengthen next summer. It's not going to be just Chelsea in a vacuum that get to make transfers and get to improve, and then everyone works off that. Everyone else is going to get to improve as well. Arsenal will get to have bits and pieces. Liverpool will get to have bits and pieces. City will get to have bits and pieces. I don't think that it's necessarily that easy to just go, they'll be there in 2 years.
And Chelsea's 2 biggest and best results this season were against Wolves and Brighton, who did respectively set up against them terribly. For me, I think I don't even know if they are better than Spurs, but it's certainly got a feeling the start of this season of just a little bit of Spurs at the start of last season, where it's like, okay, once it becomes common knowledge, which I feel like it should already be common knowledge, but apparently it's not, to set up against Chelsea defensively, it will be more difficult for them, and they won't necessarily be putting 4 or 5 goals past teams. So, look, if they can get through that and they can figure out, if I see Chelsea put in a string of performances against teams in deep blocks, and they comfortably beat those teams, then I'll start talking to you about, I think they're going to qualify for the Champions League. But until then, I just think we're jumping the gun a little bit, It's a bit reactionary. Not very rational, you could say.
Not very rational.
The thing, I'm happy to put Cole Palmer in the top 3 players so far this season. For me, it's been Haaland, Palmer, Gravenberch as the best 3 players in the league this season, with Salah and Saka on the peripheral in terms of starting this season. Or Saka or Gabriel, to be fair, because I think Gabriel's been very good. But Palmer's definitely in that top 3. I just think that I think Chelsea's project will keep pace with him, and he will. I do think he'll stay, but Chelsea have to make sure that they keep pushing in the correct direction and keep being able to satiate what Palmer wants as a footballer. Because if he's going to continue on the path he's on, Chelsea need to ensure that they remain the best club for him to be at. Because I don't think Palmer's the kind of guy who's going to stick at Chelsea out of blind loyalty. I think he's got his foot. I think he's actually a very smart man when it comes to his football career. Hence why he took a move away from City instead of a loan.
Yep.
It's difficult to know, Mo, where he'll be in 2 years. I think, like Tom said, if we can't align and we can't match up to a player that's capable of doing what he's doing right now, the writing's on the wall for him to be going to Real Madrid, and like Real Madrid only, in my opinion. Unless he doesn't feel that culture suits his life, and then he's happy to remain at Chelsea because Chelsea were the team that gave him the opportunity, and it balances out like that. Because I think Eden Hazard gave Chelsea more years than he probably should have, in my honest opinion. But I'm thankful for every single game that he gave us. But I honestly think Hazard could have moved to Real Madrid at any point, because Robben, obviously we're going years back now, but Robben didn't give Chelsea as many years as he could have, and he went early. And then he obviously went to Real Madrid at a really young age. So it just depends. It's all going to depend on how the club can match up to what Cole Palmer's delivering.
Papa Verde saying, nah, just skip the Chelsea part. We are a bad team. Khalas. We got Papa Verde. I'm a Chelsea fan. Devin, Chelsea or who Man United has to be really careful about. It's starting to click. Man United and Chelsea aren't on the same level at the current moment. And Chelsea will pull away. A lot to put together still, though. I don't think they're on the same level.
That's what
I said
saying,
that
right?
yesterday. No, he's saying they are to be careful about. I don't think Chelsea should be worried about like Man United, or Man United should be worried about Chelsea. Man United should be worried about Brighton.
But I think what Tevin's trying to say is United need to be worried about how it looks if Chelsea are pulling away from them, are on a higher level. And he's saying United need to be careful about that because it looks really bad if Chelsea, who everyone questioned their business, questioned how they were doing. If Chelsea, it's one thing having Liverpool, City, and Arsenal well above United, but if Chelsea are now doing it off the back of their ownership,
Spurs ahead of United already, don't you think?
Spurs
Newcastle
are
ahead of United. Don't
Everyone's
you
ahead of Man United.
Newcastle, I don't think
the
Newcastle
bottom 10.
I think Newcastle as a club are ahead of United.
I think Newcastle and Man United are on a similar level. I think.
No,
Arsenal,
Rory. Newcastle they're miles ahead of United.
Newcastle's
has major injuries.
Newcastle have a better team and a more and a better style of play than United.
A better coach.
Yeah, like I said, a better manager, better style of play, and in my opinion, a better starting 11 than Manchester United. I think the team, if you were to look at the league as a whole, the team that I would say are closest to Man United at the minute in terms of an overall package would probably be Fulham.
West Ham.
West Ham.
Spending money, changing coaches, and
West Ham are worse. I could go on for hours about how much I think West Ham fucked it this summer.
I know a lot of people don't rate Lopetegui.
I'm on about the team that I think will finish closest to Manchester United this season, point tally wise, will be Fulham.
I think.
I mean, to be fair, Fulham.
Rory, if Newcastle are allowed to spend half of what Man United are allowed to spend, right?
Oh yeah, then we're
in a different place.
Yeah,
and with this new APT thing, if they are allowed to get the sponsorship they were promised, right? You can tell that Newcastle will pull miles ahead of Manchester United.
Yeah, then I agree it's a different story, but that's not the situation right now, and that's where I think that they're on a similar level. But
that guy said, "Look how Rory said Palmer." I'm gonna leave the other word anyway. To be a big club. How about Saka, Rory? Saliba? Shouldn't they leave to a big club? Palmer has a 9 years deal.
Yeah, I've just tossed out a bit of bait there, and it's cost you £4.99 to reply to it. So I don't know what's happened there, but I will say,
no, but unrealistic. I've been saying this. If Arsenal don't start winning and take the next step, do we think Saliba and Saka will be?
Saka maybe slightly less so because of the fact that he's been
with us.
But William Saliba, if we don't win anything this season and we don't win anything next season, even if we're competing at the top, by the way. So I would expect Saliba to go to Real Madrid. Yeah, 100%. And that's not if I'm saying I think if Chelsea can get back into the Champions League places, that's one thing. But if you're expecting Chelsea to be competing at the very top in the next 2 years, which I don't think they will be, then of course Cole Palmer, if he's still performing at a level capable of playing at one of those clubs, will look elsewhere. And I would expect Arsenal players to do the same. The reason that Saka and Saliba and that still at the club is because we were a point away from winning the title last season. Chelsea aren't in that position right now. Yeah, okay, the big club comment was just a bit of a bait, but the point I think is fair.
That was all that was said. If Chelsea doesn't grow alongside Palmer's ambitions, then that's where the worry comes from. We had the same problem with Salah after he had that 40-odd goal season for us, and everyone was wondering, if they finish fourth again, is he going to want to stay? We took the next step and he stayed because we were competing for the top honours. If Chelsea give Palmer the platform to compete for top honours, he won't go anywhere.
Yeah, I hear that, Tom. I think you're right. The one thing that would concern me as well is obviously I don't know what the bonus structure is like for Cole Palmer. If he keeps performing, he
will be the guy who you break the wage structure for.
Yeah, well, this is what I was going to say, is that ultimately, in terms of this wage structure and everything Chelsea have set up, is there are plenty of clubs out there that don't have a wage structure in place that are way more capable of breaking that and paying some stupid amount of money. All I would say is I don't know whether if Cole Palmer's scoring a hat-trick, 2 goals, 4 goals, it would subsidise him financially with his bonuses to match up to what he could go and earn at a bigger club. But that's something you got to keep in mind as well. You have to.
Rory, we are Chelsea. We don't go 20 years between titles.
Yeah,
There is a
Very
massive
true.
response. If you don't say it, Rory, there is a massive response to this. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you respond.
I mean, just the club. It might feel like the club has only existed since 2003, but there is a history before that. So
That's all
maybe
I
you
thought
don't know
of.
it. Maybe you don't know it.
The problem with Chelsea fans, and I know we gotta end the show. The problem with Chelsea fans is that when you tell that to an Arsenal fan, and I've heard this response, the response is like, "Yeah, but your club's history is only 20 years." So
I mean, that isn't true. but-
titles.
all right.
I know that isn't true, but
That's
let me
not
just tell
rational,
you.
is it? As we said earlier.
Oh, hold on, Dan. To be honest
There's
with you,
Cup Winners' Cups in there and a couple of trophies.
but you weren't a big club.
No, I've never said we were.
But that's
But
the point.
we became a big club. Yeah, but it doesn't mean the club didn't exist. It still had a pull
and I always
before
have
we were
this
winning
then
Premier
with
Leagues.
Man City.
We still
I
had
will
Marcel
never sit here
Desailly,
and say-
Gianfranco Zola, Ruud
Yeah.
Gullit played for Chelsea before.
Chelsea were the champions.
Jordan
I
Really?
never.
when they were
Let me
bought
just
out.
respond to Dan. Let me just. I can never sit here. The word history for me, every club has history. Then Chelsea have existed for 100 years. Man City have existed for more than 100 years. When we
No,
say
Chelsea have
history,
existed more than 100 years.
yeah. When I say
Nearly
history,
120.
I mean you haven't been established as a top club before 2003. You were,
That-
of
no,
course,
that
you have
isn't true.
history.
Chelsea were
No,
finishing
that's
in the
not true.
Champions
We-
League spots
We
before
beat Real
Abramovich
Madrid to
bought.
win the Cup Winners' Cup.
For how long?
I know that the year before
So
Abramovich
you guys
bought
want to
them,
tell
they
me that
finished above us.
Chelsea? So maybe with Chelsea, I wasn't watching the Premier League religiously in the 90s because it wasn't aired on TV. In the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, were Chelsea one of the top clubs in England? I don't know. You can educate
No.
me.
Nah,
No.
not in the 70s and the 80s.
Well,
We were
actually,
definitely not
in the
control.
80s, they won the second division twice,
Yeah.
which tells you where they were.
I know the Zola, the Ravanelli.
So-
I know the Vialli stories and the
so-
Ruud Gullit. But
so
to be honest, Chelsea
between-
used to get players at the end of their career, guys.
They even in 1989 they won the second division, as in what is now the championship.
Okay.
So that's where they were.
Okay.
They between 1955 and 2005, they didn't win a first division title. So that quite literally went 50 years, without a first division title.
So late 90s when you started to get Zola, Hasselbank. This is when I started watching Chelsea.
I would say from the 90s, late 80s, 90s, Chelsea made a return to the top flight and being in the conversation of
All right.
FA Cups and things like European
won an FA Cup in
conversation in terms of
97.
like the Cup Winners' Cup. and
It
things
was
like that.
96. So before 90, so it was the 96-97 season. Before that,
You
they
got
were
Ruud
finishing.
Gullit? Is that Ruud Gullit?
Yeah. It was Ruud Gullit's first season as manager. Before
Yes.
that, it was Hoddle who was the manager, and they were finishing 11th. Then they finished 6th under Gullit, and then it was just they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, near on 19 years in a row without finishing outside the top 6.
Finishing in the top 6 for me doesn't.
No,
mean
no,
anything.
but
we won 20 trophies in 20 years as well.
Yeah, I say Chelsea are the most successful club in England over the past 20 years. Manchester City are now surpassing you because of the abundant and amount of trophies that they won. But 2 Europa Leagues, 2 Champions Leagues, 5 league titles, always in the Champions League spots is something that we cannot just sit here and just discuss.
Considering we're bringing up football 40 years ago, it's not too bad, is it? Like, it's okay.
No, I was
I
just
can
merely
deal with
responding
that.
to we are CFC. We don't go 20 years between
Right,
titles.
I see.
You went
Yeah.
50.
I
You
doubt.
did go
I
50.
doubt he knew what football was before then.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know.
And that's
Predictions. Predictable. Palmer gets praise. Arsenal fan bring up Saka not getting the same. So sensitive, I swear. I didn't think Rory was sensitive at all.
fine. I feel like I made a relatively fair point then. If you
I
want to
don't
praise
think-
Palmer, fine. I've praised Palmer.
Anyway.
You know.
Has Saka ever been on this level that Palmer's at the moment?
it comes
I'm
down
not
to what
even
you
What a
value.
question.
I
What a
think
question.
I think
just
Cole
wondered.
Palmer. I think
No,
Cole
it's a fair
Palmer
question.
right now is hitting a higher, in terms of individual games, is hitting a higher level. But Bukayo Saka is probably consistently played at just below that level for about 3 years now. And as I value consistency higher, if Palmer can keep this up for the rest of this season, that's 2 seasons where he's played at a high level, then I'm willing to accept the change. But right now, I think you've got 3 years of Saka versus 1 year of Palmer. That's not enough yet for me.
Yeah, I'd say Saka probably hasn't been at the level of Cole Palmer scoring. I mean, Saka's never scored 4 goals in a game. He's never scored a hat-trick in the Premier League. But like Tom said, I do think that consistency, the fact that Saka for 3 or 4 years now has basically dragged us through it, I think that's
I agree.
important.
I agree. Listen, people, there is no time to talk about Liverpool, so just to not
Ryan Gravenberch's boss.
I'm going to ask
Liverpool are going to win the league
again. Are you winning the league?
We're going to win the league. We're going to win the league. And are you going to believe us? And are you going to believe us? And are you going to believe us? We're going to win the league.
I thought you were quite poor against Wolves. But,
oh, yeah, we were.
Yeah, Wolves are awful. Like, they have stitched Gary O'Neill up, by the way. The way they've
I didn't actually think Wolves were that bad. I think, again, it was another case of a team that cannot play out the back try to play out the back.
Mate, you get back into the game at 1-1 and you give a penalty away like that. It's the most criminal
Nelson
defending.
Semedo. I don't know why people expect any now of Nelson Semedo.
Criminal.
Like the big thing for me is we weren't great. That was probably our worst performance of the season so far. Worse than Forest, and that's saying something. And yet we still got the 3 points, which is massive. We always struggle away from home at Wolves. Like, even when they've had good teams or bad teams, we've always struggled away from home. And bar a fucking stupid moment from Canate, which he won't do again, we should have left with a clean sheet.
He probably will do it again. It is Canate.
He won't do it again because Alisson will just come out and claim them now. Canate just didn't
only
talk.
till the end of this season, and then he won't be able to do that.
No, Alisson's got one more year after that.
Alisson's
Alisson's got one more year after that.
I heard he's going Bayern Munich, mate. Company.
Alisson going Bayern Munich. They're even fucking worse, mate. Why'd they do that? No,
Anyway,
I just think it's and once again, before we end the note, Ryan Gravenberch is fucking boss. Oh my god, that was as flawless a performance you can get from a defensive midfielder as you could imagine. I know we weren't great as a team. Ryan Gravenberch was great individually.
I texted in the group, you fraud, and I said Gravenberch and Van Dijk were individually higher than everyone else, just individually.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Van Dijk in this game as well.
Ironically,
every time people say this guy's finished.
I don't think either of them. I actually gave man of the match to Jota because he was the guy who was the decisive one in both moments.
Every time people say about this guy Van Dijk, he comes up with the leadership, performance, cover. Oh, it's crazy actually the way he reads games. Big up everybody that is here. Rory today, 6:30 today. Tom is not doing a live today. I know that for sure.
No, I'm on terrace later.
You are on the terrace, which is this will take you to the football terrace as well. Dan, what do you got coming up?
Previewing our Conference League debut match this week. So yeah, we'll be getting into that to play against Ghent.
Ghent.
It's a decent team. A decent team.
Yeah, I do know Ghent.
I know them.
Yeah.
I know them.
A decent team. It's not F9. It is not.
It's not Noah or Astana.
I can't wait for the Shamrock Rovers preview. That one's going to be great.
It is not.
I might just go to Ireland for that one. I might just
appreciate everyone that stayed with us. Hit that like button. Tonight I am at 10 p.m. UK time with Mohammed Salah and Eminaya, the Arsenal fan that you guys see on TikTok here on the channel. We'll do some good content as well. Will Trent, Virgil van Dijk, and the lot still be there next year? About that.
Heart says all 3 will be. Head says 2 will be. I couldn't tell you which 2 though.
Who's the lot?
Trent, VVD, and Salah. They're the ones that are in the last year of the deal.
3 guys have, and they haven't even renewed their contract. By the way, comes December, Salah, VVD, and Trent can sign contract. Adi, it's okay. Like, just imagine that. Anyway, thank you everybody that watched us. Stay here, don't go anywhere. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button. We'll see you guys soon. We're out of here, people.